Alright, hello everyone, welcome back to some more Malice Reacts. This one is some Paranormal files from last week. We're playing the catch-up game right now still. Maybe, hopefully tonight, knock on wood, I can get to this week's Twin Paranormal and we can be only one video away from being caught up. And we can spend the rest of the week piecemealing it if we have to for the rest of that reaction for the Paranormal files, because usually it's long videos. But they also usually have very good spots to have a quick break or a long break, and you can come back to it and still kind of remember where you're at. So, with no further interruptions, hopefully for this one, I am expecting packages, but hopefully they will come quietly. We have the Cecil Hotel. Not sure where this is based at. I'm guessing it's a big city. Excuse me. And that murders and possibly the sides have happened, which is why the video immediately starts with a seek help if you have these issues kind of thing, and also if you are sensitive to these topics, please don't watch kind of thing. So with that said, and without any further to do, let's begin. But also really quickly, check the links down below if you want to find this video on its own. Also check the links down below if you wish to find my socials. And also check the links down below if you wish to find the merch shop, where you can find lovely shirts like this one here up on my bony torso. Anyways, that's it. Ready to go. Paranormal files, go.
Famous, and those who would be famous, the Cecil Hotel is best known for its infamy.
This is 21-year-old Elisa Lamb riding an elevator at the Cecil Hotel in Los Angeles. Fire crews pulled Lamb's body from the hotel's water tank on the roof.
The water did have funny taste.
It wasn't right.
I've been there multiple times, and it has to be one of the scariest places I have visited in my life.
And I look up out the window and I see a lady outside her window on the 6th or the 7th floor from her window.
The hotel remains a symbol of the area's dark past.
You go past certain doors and there's pentagrams drawn on the walls. And
since I've been here, no less than 15 have died either from overdoses or suicides. And one of them said that it was because the voices told them to do it.
They're telling us stories about bodies that are left in their rooms to rot for a week, watching someone themselves from the side of the it's crazy. That building has some of the most insanely negative, depressing energy of any place that I've ever been to.
Quite a feat. Again, viewer discretion is highly advised.
So, the Cecil Hotel. Today is a very special episode that I've been wanting to cover for a very long time, because the Cecil Hotel is just one of those places. It is one of the most mysterious places in America. As a person who has been a paranormal investigator for a decade now, the Cecil Hotel is one of those places that I've heard so many things about. You know, I've read in depth about Elisa Lamb's story, about Richard Ramirez's connection, all of the different killers and murders and deaths that have happened in the hotel. We're going to cover that in a second. And it's very, very interesting because I recently visited the Cecil. It's a Friday right now when I'm recording this, and just last Saturday, I was inside of the Cecil and I saw this firsthand. I talked to people who live there, and it's just as dark as you can imagine that it is. It is a horrific, negative, evil energy inside of that building. It is depressing. It feels anxious. It's just so bad. It's hard to even describe how bad it is to you. The violence that happens there to this day. The woman that we were interviewing who lives there, she's lived there for 2 years, and she said that just in those 2 years that she's lived there, she said maybe somewhere between 16, 18 to 30 people have died and been taken out of the hotel just while she's been there, mainly from drug. But like just recently, a couple of weeks ago, as of right now when I'm recording this video, there was a dead body found inside one of the rooms at the Cecil. And when the police actually opened up the door, they discovered that a man had been living in that room with the dead body for a full week while it was decomposing, because they were so strung out on whatever substance they had that they just didn't see anything wrong with that. So yeah, this is some really disturbing stuff. But to really get into this story of Elisa and what happened, we can't even begin to unpack it without first diving into the history and infamy of the Cecil Hotel. So the Hotel Cecil opened its doors in 1924, situated on what was then a trendy section of Main Street in downtown Los Angeles. The hotel was named after the famed Cecil Hotel in London, which was one of the world's top hotels at the time. Interestingly enough, the Royal Air Force was actually formed there at the hotel in 1918. While smaller than its London namesake, the Los Angeles version of the Cecil boasted 700 rooms and catered to tourists and business travelers alike. Its location was really prime real estate, just steps away from the downtown hub for the Pacific Electric streetcar system, which made it easy for business travelers to reach nearly any part of Los Angeles. Central Station, the main terminus for Los Angeles, was just a short walk to the east, and downtown LA itself was thriving at the time. Before corporate giants took over, the area was a bustling ecosystem of diverse companies. Southern California alone was home to numerous banks, small department stores, independent oil companies, and of course, the film industry. The region at the time was a hive of manufacturing, shipbuilding, and construction. So the people of LA were doing really well. They had a nice, clean city, and now they had this huge, grand hotel right downtown. It was a huge building back then. For these countless local businesses, having a prestigious office downtown was a must to impress clients and competitors alike. The Hotel Cecil, with its proximity to these corporate hubs and the nearby bustling Broadway district with its stores, restaurants, and theaters, was a magnet for business travelers and tourists. But the good times didn't last. Just 5 years after it opened, the Wall Street crash of 1929 and the ensuing Great Depression sent Main Street into a downward spiral, eventually merging into the growing Skid Row. And this was just the beginning of the hotel's troubles. In 1939, Union Station opened, moving LA's main train terminal a couple of miles north and leading to the closure of Central Station. Then in 1950, the Pacific Electric building also closed its terminus. As downtown LA began to lose its luster, many companies relocated to other parts of Southern California, making a downtown office less desirable. There was also a glaring oversight in the Cecil's original business plan. The hotel had no parking for cars. When it was designed around 1920, parking wasn't a consideration for city hotels. But car ownership in Southern California boomed in the 1920s, creating a growing traffic problem that made getting out of downtown a headache. By 1961, all the streetcar lines were gone, leaving the Cecil isolated in an increasingly unfashionable, hard to reach, and dangerous part of town. The hotel's lack of parking and dwindling public transport options forced a shift in the business model. You see, without easy access, the Cecil's only viable customers were long-term tenants without cars, which led to those tenants being mostly low-income residents. Over time, the hotel became a refuge for those living on the fringes of society, drawn in by its central location and extremely cheap rent. Nowadays, we just talked to somebody, it's $250 a month to get a room at the Cecil, which is crazy cheap, especially downtown LA. By the 1950s, however, the Hotel Cecil had already started to gain a reputation unlike any other in Los Angeles, which made it even harder for the owners of the business to turn things around. The hotel quickly became known for death, murder, and violence. It's possible that there's a correlation between the Great Depression and the numerous in the 30s, but there have been 16 reported deaths within the hotel and countless police calls and reports of unsavory activity all throughout the hotel's history. So let's examine some of these listed bizarre deaths from inside of the Cecil. The first really recorded death that I could dig up occurred in November of 1931. During that month, a man named W.K. Norton was found dead in his hotel room in the Cecil after ingesting poisonous capsules. Just a week before his death, he had checked into the Cecil Hotel using the fake name James Willies from Chicago. We still don't know why the fake name, what happened with him, but he's the first really recorded death that sets all of this stuff off. Then, less than a year later, in September of 1932, Benjamin Dodich dies from a gunshot wound to the head. A maid actually found Benjamin dead from that gunshot wound to the head inside of his room. He appeared to have taken his own life, and he did not leave any note or explanation as to why he did so. The next death was a little over a year later in July of 1934. This was the death of Sergeant Louis D. Borden. In late July 1934, former Army Medical Corps Sergeant Borden was found dead in his room at the Cecil after having slashed his throat with a razor. Now, Sergeant Borden actually, in contrast to other people, had left several notes, which cited poor health as the reason why he was choosing to take his own life. Already, as you can see, That is 4 people that took their own lives in less than 5 years in the Cecil. And it wouldn't get any better soon. March of 1937. Grace E. Magro died from falling off the building. Magro fell or jumped from a 9th-story window. But shockingly, on the way down, Magro's body got wrapped up in telephone wires. That's right, she jumped onto the wires and they gruesomely wrapped around her body, caught her up, cut her up. There was blood and other, internal organs laying everywhere on the pavement. I can imagine it was a truly disturbing sight. She later on died at the hospital, and the police were unable to determine whether her death was an accident or she had taken her own life or if she had possibly been pushed. Still to this day, nobody knows what happened. Then in May of 1939, Irwin C. Neblett was found dead in his hotel room at the Cecil after, once again, he had ingested poison. People don't know if he was trying to take his life, what exactly happened, but this trend of people coming to the Cecil Hotel to die is just going to continue. Right. January of 1940, less than a year after the last death, a woman named Dorothy Seeger dies at the Cecil Hotel. Dorothy was a teacher who registered at the hotel under the pseudonym Evelyn Brent. She then ingested poison on January 10th, 1940, and was reported by the LA Times to be near death when the police arrived. Beforehand, Dorothy had sent her relatives a note indicating that she was planning on ending her life. And yes, Dorothy eventually succumbed to the effects of the poison at a local hospital. So I don't know what the deal was with all these people coming to the Cecil to poison themselves, but it's really bizarre stuff. And when we get to September of 1944, we get to one of the most disturbing events, in my opinion, in the history of the Cecil, the tale of Dorothy Jean Purcell. Now, in September of 1944, Dorothy Jean's newborn infant was thrown from the window of their hotel room. Now, at the time, Dorothy Jean Purcell was sharing a room at the Cecil with her then boyfriend, a man named Ben Levine, who was 38 years old and a shoe salesman. Dorothy had apparently been completely unaware that she was pregnant. She had spent the last 8 months completely unaware that she was with child. And so when she was in the room at the Cecil that night in September of 1944, Dorothy suddenly went into labor. After this all happened, she later testified that she didn't want to disrupt her boyfriend, who was sleeping at the time, so she went into the bathroom of her hotel room by herself and gave birth to the baby boy. But something wasn't right about the child. It wasn't crying and breathing like Dorothy thought it was supposed to, and so sadly and mistakenly, she thought that she had had a stillbirth and that her baby was dead. And so Dorothy took her baby and threw it out of the window of her hotel room. It then landed on the roof of an adjacent building and died. Dorothy was later charged with murder, and 3 psychiatrists testified that she was mentally confused at the time of the incident. In January of 1945, she was found not guilty by reason of insanity. November of 1947, a man named Robert Smith once again jumps from the building and takes his own life. He jumps from one of the Cecil's 7th floor windows. October 1954, a woman named Helen Gurney once again jumps from the building and takes her own life. Helen was a stationery firm employee from San Francisco, and she jumped from the window of her 7th floor room and landed on top of the marquee. The sign that says Hotel Cecil on the side of the building. She actually jumped and landed on that sign, and that's where her body sat. 1 week before, she had checked in at the hotel under the name Margaret Brown. I don't know what's up with all of these pseudonyms that people check in under. It's really, really bizarre. February of 1962, a woman named Julia Frances Moore once again jumps from the building to her death. Julia had jumped from the window of her 8th floor room and landed in a 2nd-story interior light well, which seems like a horrific, painful death. Julia did not leave a note, but amongst her possessions were a bus ticket from St. Louis, 59 cents in change, and an Illinois bank book showing that she had $1,800 to her name. October 1962, that same year, a woman named Pauline Otten takes her own life at the hotel and sadly takes someone with her in the process. Now, this is one of the most bizarre things that you're going to hear about the Cecil. This is a story that seems straight out of some fictional book or film, but this indeed really did happen in real life. So, Pauline Otten, she knew she wanted to die, and for some reason, just like so many others, she was drawn to the Cecil as a place where she would, herself. So on that day in October of 1962, Pauline climbed up to her 9th floor room. she had an argument with her estranged husband, Dewey Otten, and then Pauline opened up the window and jumped from the 9th floor. Now, interestingly, her estranged husband, Dewey, had left the room just a few moments before she took her own life. We can assume that they had been arguing. He stepped out of the room, and then she decided that it's over and she was going to jump. Sadly, though, Pauline landed on a pedestrian, a man named George Gianni, killing both of them instantly. That's right, she actually landed on top of a pedestrian and killed them. As there were no witnesses to this event, nobody saw this whole thing happen. When the police arrived on scene, they initially thought that Pauline and George had taken their lives together in some sort of a pact. However, it was soon determined that George had his hands in his pocket when he died, and he was still wearing his shoes. Had he have jumped from his room, his shoes would have likely fallen off during the fall or upon impact, and his hands would not have been in his pockets. So yeah, you have someone trying to take their own life from the hotel, and they end up also taking someone else's with them. So just a lot of strange, terrible things happening at the Cecil. Then in June of 1964, there's the death of Pigeon Goldie Osgood, who was raped and murdered in the Cecil. In June of 1964, a hotel worker discovered Pigeon Goldie, a retired telephone operator, dead in her room. She had been stabbed, beaten, and raped, and her room was ransacked. There was blood everywhere. It was a brutal, gruesome scene. Pigeon Goldie was well known around the area and had earned her nickname because she fed birds in nearby Pershing Square, pigeons to be exact. Near her body was the Los Angeles Dodgers cap that she always wore, and a paper sack full of birdseed she was planning to throw out to the birds later. Hours after her murder, a man named Jacques B. Ellinger was seen walking through Pershing Square, the same place where Pigeon Goldie used to go love to feed the pigeons, in blood-stained clothing. He was arrested and charged with her murder, but was later found not guilty and cleared of the crime. To this day, Pigeon Goldie's murder remains unsolved. In December of 1975, Allison Lowell died from once again jumping from the building. But what's interesting is that woman who jumped and died, her name really wasn't Allison Lowell. In fact, to this day, nobody knows who she is. She still technically remains unidentified. She had checked in on December 16th of that year under the name Allison Lowell, staying in room 327. She jumped from there, but no one knows who she is. Then in September of 1992, another John Doe died from jumping from the building. This time, the body of an African-American man was found in the alley behind the Cecil, and immediately the police assumed that he had either fallen, jumped, or been pushed from the hotel's 15th floor. That's quite the drop. The 20 to 30-year-old male, like I said before, has never been identified. Then in the 2000s, the body of a 28-year-old man was found outside of the Cecil Hotel. Some people believed he may have taken his own life by jumping from the hotel, although a spokesperson for the county coroner informed the LA Times the cause of death had not been determined. That man remains unidentified. There's also a lot of speculation surrounding a lot of these deaths, and many of them are not entirely straightforward cases, which adds to the mystery behind the incidents that occur in the hotel. I mean, did all these people really take their own lives? Were some of these people pushed? Were some people forced to take this poison? Did they not know? I don't really even know what to think of all of that, but it is crazy. You see, Amy Price, the Hotel Cecil's manager from 2007 to 2017, has claimed in later interviews that there were over 80 deaths that happened just while she was working there in the stretch of a decade. It's also interesting to note that many people died from falling from the building. And you'd think that it would be way more difficult or nearly impossible to access the top of the building after all of these deaths, but somehow Elisa Lam did. You see, in 2008, after all of these occurrences, a pair of local longtime residents of the Cecil Hotel gave it an ominous new nickname in the press. They called it the Suicide Hotel, and this name has stuck many years later. There have also been some extremely infamous guests who have visited and stayed at the Cecil Hotel, so let's talk about them. First, there was the Black Dahlia. In January of 1947, Elizabeth Short, known as the Black Dahlia, disappeared. Just 6 days later, her body was found mutilated in sections all across Los Angeles. It's been heavily rumored that Elizabeth Short frequented the Cecil Hotel bar and that was one of the last places she had visited before she was found dead. Then, in 1980, the Cecil Hotel was home to serial killer Richard Ramirez, aka the Night Stalker. Now, Richard was never blamed for any of the deaths that occurred at the hotel, but it is theorized that he did a lot of his killing during the time that he was staying there. You see, as it turned out, the Night Stalker Richard Ramirez was a regular presence in the Skid Row area. Throughout his life, he had been a drug addict and had battled demons of his own for many years before he turned to killing. But because of the Cecil's close approximate location to Skid Row, it just made sense that he would choose the hotel to spend time at in between or during his murder sprees. According to a hotel clerk who had known him, Richard Ramirez stayed at the Cecil for a few weeks and supposedly committed a good chunk of his Los Angeles murders while he was staying there. Now, according to people who used to work at the Cecil, they've claimed that they saw Richard stripping off his bloody clothing in the alleyway outside of the building before he would climb the interior stairs to his residence, still wearing his blood-stained underwear. So he would take off his bloody clothing in the alleyway and then walk all the way up to his room covered in blood, wearing only his underwear. I mean, what a crazy sight. On August 30th, 1985, a group of Los Angeles residents spotted Richard Ramirez in the street and stopped him from escaping until the police arrived to arrest him. And in 1989, he was convicted of 13 murders and sentenced to death, although he would ultimately die of cancer in 2013. An article that I found online from moviemaker.com actually goes into a little detail about the connections between Ramirez and the Cecil. Here's a little portion of that article. One former Cecil resident described the hotel at the time as a lawless place, one that was so chaotic, serial killers felt comfortable calling it home. Back in the 80s, I would never go no farther than the 6th floor. The resident, Kenneth Givens, says in Vanishing, usually the higher floors of the Cecil, people used to get killed up in there. Once they got a guy in the room, they would rob him, beat him up, and throw him out the window. So if you didn't watch yourself, you might come flying out of there with no wings, end quote. Richard Ramirez's room was on the 14th floor, but as far as we know, the Night Stalker never brought any of his victims back to the hotel. It was simply a safe place for him to return to after committing murders. This is another quote. It's one of those hotels that's well known for this type of crime. The Cecil Hotel is where serial killers, let their hair down, says Kim Cooper, an author and Los Angeles true crime tour guide for Esoteric, who was interviewed in Vanishing. One was a figure who stayed upstairs on the 14th floor, paying $14 a night for his room. He liked to scare, torture, torment, kill human beings. She's talking about Richard Ramirez, of course. On at least one occasion, he had actually removed someone's eyes as his human trophies. And then after committing some of the most brutal murders that happened in Southern California ever, he would come back to the Cecil. She added, in the middle of the night, he would be in the back alley covered in blood, taking off his clothing. Fellow LA historian and esoteric guide Richard Shave also described Ramirez's habit of walking up the stairs to his room in his blood-stained underwear, barefoot, after discarding his bloody clothing outside. Cooper added, and that's cool, and no one's got a problem with that because it's that kind of a heavy place. So shout out to the author of that article. It was a great, insightful article. There's actually a room inside of the Cecil that has gotten itself the ominous nickname of the Richard Ramirez room, the room where he was rumored to have stayed during his murder spree. And according to those who have visited said room, people that I know, there are still some bloodstains visible on the walls and floor. But I never went there, so that's all I can really say. Then, in 1991, Austrian serial killer Jack Unterweger stayed at the hotel and killed at least 3 prostitutes while staying there. You see, just after Unterweger checked into the Cecil, sex workers started dying in brutal ways across the city of Los Angeles. But Jack's killer crime spree actually started in his home country, Austria, decades earlier, in the 1970s. When Jack Unterweger showed up in Los Angeles, people saw him as an Austrian journalist on some sort of an assignment. But beneath that veneer was a man with a sinister past. Back in 1974, he had abducted and strangled 18-year-old Margaret Schaefer with her own bra. And by 1976, he had been sentenced to life in prison for that murder. But Jack Unterweger didn't want to waste his time behind bars. He started writing short stories, poems, plays, and even an autobiography titled Purgatory, or The Trip to Prison, Report of a Guilty Man. The book eventually inspired a documentary, and Jack's literary success from prison earned him parole in 1990. And from there, his writing career skyrocketed. He became a fixture at bookstore readings, talk shows, and his works were even celebrated in schools. Even Austrian radio played his children's stories. Jack went from a murderer to being ultra famous and wealthy. Now, just before Jack's big move to the United States, a dark shadow started to spread across Europe. In September 1990, Blanka Bakova, a sex worker in Prague, was found strangled with her underwear. And over the next 6 months, 7 more prostitutes met the same fate in Jack's home country of Austria. After all of these women died, Unterweger then made his way to Los Angeles, supposedly to study the red light district. He even managed to get a ride-along with the LAPD, getting an official tour of the seedy underbelly of downtown. And of course, he set up shop at the infamous Cecil Hotel. And soon afterwards, 3 sex workers, Shannon Exley, Irene Rodriguez, and Peggy Jean Booth, were found strangled with their bras tied with the same signature knot that had become Unterweger's calling card. Back in Austria, police had been watching Jack, suspecting his involvement in the recent murders, and they finally had enough evidence to arrest him. But by the time they arrived at his home, Jack had vanished, slipping away with his girlfriend, Bianca Marac, through Switzerland and France. He stayed on the run until 1992, when he was finally caught in Miami, Florida. Extradited back to Austria, Jack faced charges for 11 murders, and the jury found him guilty of 9. In 1994, he was sentenced to life in prison without the chance of parole. But Jack wasn't going to let anyone else have the final say. That very night, he ended his own life in the Graz Carlisle prison, thus bringing Jack Unterweger's reign of terror to an end. And obviously, with all of this death, murder, with these and bizarre events that have happened at the Cecil, the place has a pretty robust supernatural history. And it's easy to believe why. I mean, the hotel is drenched in negative, evil energy, in the location that attracts death and suffering. The deaths that occur there at the Cecil are theorized by some to be the result of negative supernatural energy that lingers on within the location. And I think that's what it is. After visiting the place and talking to people, I think that the Cecil Hotel is like a big, negative, evil magnet that attracts everything negative and evil and dark about the world. It's just, it pulls these people in to take their own lives. It pulls I mean, what hotel have you ever heard of with that many deaths, multiple serial killers, all these bizarre events? To this day, deaths and murders happening every single month of year. And then Elisa Lam. I mean, yeah, it's just, I think that it's like its own character. I would describe the Cecil as its own character in its story. It's like an entity that's alive and well. Kind of like the hotel in The Shining, the Overlook Hotel, how Stephen King has stated, it's not even the ghosts that are really haunted, it's the hotel itself. The hotel is its own evil, negative being. It's kind of how I view the Cecil. Now, the Cecil closed its doors in 2017 for renovations and to begin preserving the historical architecture after it was voted a historical cultural monument. However, work paused during the COVID-19 pandemic, and in December of 2021, it was reopened as an affordable housing complex operated by the Skid Row Housing Trust. The facility provides affordable living accommodations for up to 600 low-income residents. And in April of 2022, controversy struck when the famous Cecil Hotel room rate advertisement that had been emblazoned on the side of the building for almost a century was illegally painted over. As of August 2024, about half of the hotel was full of residents, and it's expected that those numbers will rise as Skid Row Housing Trust acquires more resources. And that's what it was when we went there. We had to sneak into the building through security and have some help, but it's pretty much all people who were unhoused at one point or are pretty much unhoused. Drug addiction is rampant in there, mental health issues just from the stuff that we saw. It's not like the Cecil Hotel that you would imagine that it would be. But let's talk about Elisa Lam. Elisa Lam was the daughter of Hong Kong immigrants and was living in Vancouver at the time of her trip to Los Angeles. Previously, she had been a student at the University of British Columbia, although she was not enrolled at the time of her trip to LA. It's theorized that Elisa had dropped out sometime before her trip or was possibly taking a break. Now, Elisa was an aspiring blog writer who would post about models, fashion, quotes, and accounts of her life, which included discussions on her mental health. Now, Elisa had 2 known blogs, one created in 2010 on Blogspot named Etherfields, and another one made 2 years later on Tumblr named Nouvelle Nouveau. Although Elisa's family was private about her mental health, she discussed some of her struggles online, noting that she had dropped several classes due to a relapse in 2012. She quoted novelist Chuck Palahniuk stating that she felt so utterly directionless and lost, and you're always haunted by the idea that you're wasting your life. Now, Elisa Lam was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and depression and was prescribed several medications that she took regularly at the time of her death, including Wellbutrin, Lamotrigine, Quetiapine, Excedrin, Spansul, and venlafaxine. I totally slaughtered some of those names. I've never even seen some of those words. But Elisa's family claimed that she had no ideations. Although she did previously write on her blog, today has been one of those blah days full of apathy. Really dangerous too. I can see myself feeling and it always scares me when I start feeling. She also wrote, depression sucks, period. If someone says to you that they have depression, don't ask why. There is no why. Tell them every day you love them. Remind them every day. It will get better. Now, in the past before the Cecil Hotel incident, Elisa Lam had been hospitalized at least once due to mental illness. And she had a long history of not taking her medication properly. When this happened, she would often experience hallucinations that would cause her to hide. And she was hospitalized at least once for one of these episodes. Now, on this specific trip, Elisa was traveling alone to California, presumably as a tourist from San Diego to Santa Cruz, but made a stop in Los Angeles. Elisa checked into the hotel on January 26, 2013, and planned to check out on January 31st to continue her travel to Santa Cruz. While she was staying at the hotel, she contacted her parents every day, up until the day that she disappeared, which was supposed to be her checkout date on January 31st, 2013. It should be noted that Elisa never officially checked out of the hotel. Now, later that day, when she failed to check in with her family, they immediately contacted the LAPD and they flew down to help with the search. Sadly, Elisa Lam was officially reported missing on February 1st, 2013. Something to note here, and why it's been hard for people to get evidence, or why it was hard back then, is that there are no security cameras located on the floor that Elisa Lam was staying on. So it was hard for officers to track her movements, to see where she had gone or what she had been up to. And on January 27th, a couple days before she went missing, Elisa had posted on her blog expressing unwanted attention from men in the area, stating, "I'm going out tonight. I really hope no creeper comes near me. Seriously though. Those Italian and Mexican guys go after you strong." Elisa was initially booked into a shared room. However, she was moved to a private room due to erratic behavior on January 30th. Elisa was allegedly locking her roommates out and telling them they couldn't enter without a password, as well as leaving notes telling them to go away and go home. Now, hotel staff, who claimed to see Elisa in the days surrounding, noted she was traveling alone. However, some reports state that there is CCTV footage from the elevators that captured her with two men who gave her a box. It's unclear who those men were, but the box appeared to be from The Last Bookstore, a local shop. The men, to this day, have never been identified. The owner said that Elisa was outgoing, very lively, and very friendly, and was discussing getting books for her friends and family, and books that might be a little too heavy for her to travel with. The owner claimed it appeared she had plans to go home and see her friends and family. She was preparing to return. The last time anyone saw Elisa alive was when she was caught in an area of the hotel where guests were not supposed to be. She was asked to leave by hotel staff and was last seen walking towards the elevator. Phone records indicated that Elisa had planned to meet up with a man, but had never showed up. The man had an alibi that cleared him as a suspect from the case, that should be noted. Elisa's blog was still running after she had gone missing, making people believe that she might have still been alive. The last post went up in December 2013. While it was never confirmed, many believed her blog continued to post through the queue feature, where users could queue posts for a later date. While some personal items were located in her hotel room, Elisa's phone was never known to be found during the investigation. On February 13, 2013, the police released CCTV footage of the last known sighting of Elisa Lam. This was a 2.5-minute long video which was taken on February 1st, 2013 from the hotel elevator. In the video, Elisa is seen acting incredibly strange and erratic. She appears to be popping in and out of the elevator, as if to be hiding from someone, and is pressing every button on the elevator panel. She's seen waving her hands and moving in and out. When the door does not close, she exits the elevator. The door then closes sometime after she exits. No one else is visible in the video besides Elisa, and it should be noted that looks like she's staring at people or things all around her. Obviously, this footage went incredibly viral, and many viewers found it unsettling to watch. Theories began to emerge almost immediately as it gained traction, with some theorizing that it looked like she was hiding and trying to get away from someone, and that she had been trying to get the elevator door to close, which is why she was pressing buttons. Others theorized that she looked like she was under the influence of hallucinogens, or that she was suffering from some sort of psychosis. Some claim that the footage was tampered with before being made public because the timestamp is obscured in the video. It was also theorized that the footage was sped up or slowed down and that some of it was missing. it appears around the 2:57 mark that the elevator door seems to jump around. This could have been done to protect the identity of someone who was in the video, related or unrelated to the disappearance. But one of the most chilling theories is the Korean elevator game. Now, some people theorize that Elisa could have been participating in this game called the Korean elevator game, which has some complicated and intricate rules. The game is basically an urban legend intended to take you to another world in which you may not return if you don't follow a very strict set of instructions. Now, for weeks after Elisa went missing, people who were staying in the hotel began to complain about the water tasting off, the water pressure not working, the water being discolored. People were saying there was this funky, rotten taste to the water and that something was just off with the water tank, and that the water was dark in color and looked rotted, almost like mud. And so, on the morning of February 19th, 2013, maintenance worker Santiago Lopez went atop the Cecil Hotel to check on the 4 water towers. He then opened up the water tank and discovered Elisa Lam's naked body floating in one of the 4 1,000-gallon tanks, a tank which provided water to guest rooms, a kitchen, and a coffee shop. Once again, like I just said, Elisa's body had been found naked, with her clothing also floating in the water. The clothing in the water looked similar to those in the elevator footage and was coated with sand-like particulate. Her watch and room key were also found in the tank. There was no reported evidence of any foul play, that is, physical trauma or sexual assault, or on Elisa's body, making it highly unlikely that she was dragged into the water tower. People have said maybe she was murdered and put in there, but wouldn't there be some sort of bruise or some sort of marking anywhere on her body? Toxicology reports indicated traces of medication which was prescribed to her, as well as over-the-counter medications Sinutab and ibuprofen. She had a very small amount of alcohol in her system, 0.02%, but no other recreational drugs. Investigators noticed that the concentration of the prescription medication in her system indicated that she was under-medicating or had stopped taking her medications recently. This corresponded with the fact that it appeared she had more medication in her room than she should have compared to the fill date. Some information on the autopsy report was incomplete. It did not say if or when results of the or fingernail kit were processed. Records indicate subcutaneous pooling of blood in Lam's anal area, which some suggested was a sign of sexual abuse or anal rape. However, this also could have been a result of bloating in the course of the body's decomposition. Now, immediately after Elisa's body was found, the police knew they had to search the hotel, and they searched the entire hotel to the fullest extent that they legally could. Meaning, the police couldn't go into every room in the hotel because there was no probable cause that a crime had been committed in these rooms. Elisa's room appeared to be messy. However, there was no sign of forced entry. Doors and stairs that led to the water tower are locked, and only the staff has access via passcodes and keys. And bizarrely, any attempt by a resident or a guest at the hotel to access the water towers and the roof would have immediately triggered an alarm, which none of the staff members that night recalled hearing. The only way to bypass those security measures would be to go through the hotel's fire escape. Search dogs went through Elisa's room and through the rooftop, but were unsuccessful in tracking her scent to the water towers. Her scent was lost near a window that connected to the hotel's fire escape. It was questioned, though, how Elisa could access the inside of the cistern. There was no permanent access to them, and hotel workers themselves had to use a ladder that they would bring up there to get up and look down into the water. The cisterns, or water tanks, were also protected by heavy, very well secured lids. Many wonder how Elisa Lam, a small, petite woman, could have crawled up there, opened up those heavy lids, and crawled into the water tank all by herself. Now, the hotel employee who found Elisa's body said that the lid was open at the time of him finding her body, meaning that it was not closed behind her when she was inside. It's speculated that she may have entered the cistern when the water levels were low and became unable to escape as the water levels rose when the tank was refilled. Now, June 20th, 2013, Elisa's cause of death was ruled to be accidental due to drowning, with her bipolar disorder being a major factor in her death. The case is considered closed. On September 20th, 2013, Elisa's parents filed a lawsuit claiming the hotel was negligent and caused wrongful death due to the fact that they did not anticipate the water tanks to be a threat to guests, and the lids were not locked. On December 14th, 2014, the lawsuit was dismissed. The judge ruled that it would not have been foreseeable for a hotel guest to fall into the water tanks, as no guests were allowed on the roof of the hotel. The judge also stated that the fact Elisa would have had to climb up a ladder to access the water tanks would not have indicated to her that she was not supposed to be up on the tanks. It's interesting for them to admit that she would need a ladder to climb in, yet there's still no confirmation on how she got into the tank on her own. I don't know if they found a ladder up there or what, but I mean, there wasn't a ladder by the entrance when they found Elisa. Here's a couple theories. There's the mental health theories. Elisa was experiencing at the time, according to this theory, a severe manic episode due to her not taking her medications properly. This manic episode led to hallucinations, which she had experienced before, which explained that elevator footage and may explain why she felt the need to flee to the water towers. Elisa, according to this theory, was trying to take her own life. She had a history of depression and may have seeked out the water tower to drown herself. However, it didn't appear at the time that Elisa had any suicidal thoughts or ideations. She hadn't told anybody that she was thinking about taking her own life. She hadn't written about it on her mental health blog. She hasn't reached out to anybody. She was telling the bookstore owner, buying stuff to bring back to her friends and family, talking about how she's excited to go home. Doesn't add up. The theory also states that Elisa was on a concoction of drugs that may not have shown up on toxicology reports or were out of her system by the time she was found. Could these additional drugs that Elisa may have been on have played into her mental faculties failing? I don't really know. There's also the murder theories. Now, many questions still surround how Elisa got into the tank without any help and why she was naked. She had spoken on her blog about wanting to meet new people and getting unwanted attention from men, as well as having plans to meet with someone that night. Is it possible that she could have actually met with someone who harbored bad intentions? You see, the hotel was located on Skid Row, an incredibly dangerous and high crime area. At the time, the hotel worked as an apartment stay for people who couldn't pay their deposits. Because of this, the hotel at the time sometimes attracted criminals, people who were on the run, or people who had just left prison and couldn't live anywhere else. The hotel faced lots of security and safety issues and had, quote, thousands of 911 calls a year, end quote. A detective says they had around 3 calls a day to, quote, hell on earth scenes, end quote, unfolding there at the Cecil. It may have been that Elisa ran into someone in the hotel who meant to cause her harm, especially if she was unwell and vulnerable due to her mental illness. A hotel staff member could have been involved. As mentioned, there are still many questions surrounding how Elisa not only got up to the roof, but how she managed to get into that damn tank. It's physically impossible. People also cite the potentially edited elevator footage when they're talking about this theory. Was there a staff member who may have been involved in her death who isn't speaking the full truth? There's also the tuberculosis theory. You see, a theory began on Reddit that believed that Elisa was the test subject for a new tuberculosis medication. This Reddit post states, quote, after she was found, a huge outbreak of a unique drug-resistant TB occurred in the same area of her disappearance. How do you diagnose TB? With a LAM-ELISA test, LAM-ELISA test. I can't say that, LAM, enzyme-linked immunosorbent assay, ELISA. Eerily enough, there was an outbreak in downtown LA's Skid Row. A hotel manager confirmed that there was indeed that outbreak of TB within guests, and that they did need to be tested after visiting. This was around the same time of her disappearance. There was also a large and highly acclaimed TB testing center at the university Lamb attended. Theorists believe that she may have known too much and was killed. Then there's also the supernatural theories. The Cecil Hotel itself. Many people claim that the hotel has dark forces that lie within. With its dark history of murders and violence, it's no surprise people may want to link Elisa's death to its history. Some people believe that there was a sinister energy guiding Elisa to her death. Many refer to the elevator footage, in which it looks like she may be talking to spirits. Also interesting to note is that the elevator does not move or close during the entire video until Lamb exits the elevator. People believe spirits and negative forces may have been holding the door open so she would exit out to the roof instead of return downstairs. And based on what I heard from people's mouths, I believe that the hotel is alive and it can almost control people like puppets. You'll see what I'm talking about in my YouTube video. That's just my own theory. But there's also that Korean elevator game that we talked about earlier. Some people believe she may have been taking part in this frightening dimension hopping game, and that something went wrong within the game that led to her death. Another theory is called the Dark Waters theory. Many claim that Elisa's murder was incredibly similar to the movie Dark Waters. The film's plot is shockingly similar to Elisa's death, where hotel guests find flooding in their room due to a body that was in the water tank. The movie trailer even features a malfunctioning elevator, similar to Lamb's elevator footage video. While it seems like the most likely answer to Elisa's death is that she suffered from some sort of psychotic episode, there are still some pieces of her story that remained unanswered. Like, how did she get into the tank?
Yeah.
Why was she completely
That's
naked?
my big one.
Why is there no other remaining footage other than that single piece of elevator footage? What else may have happened at the hotel that was never made public? What is to be made of the permeating dark history of the Cecil? Is it just tragic coincidence? Or is it a deadly mixture of location, circumstance, and copycat murders? Could it be that the Cecil Hotel really harbors negative energies and forces that push people to commit murder, or that it's really just a microcosm for its surrounding environment? Those are questions to which we'll never truly have answers. Hey everybody, it's Colin here. Thank you for watching today's video. Hello to all the new subscribers and hello to the rest of our beautiful, wonderful, spooky family. As you know, every single week here on the channel we give away a free like today's video. I'm going to give y'all 10 ticks. So go comment. You can. Thank you for listening to my little spiel. I love you guys so much. Stay spooky.
We're almost halfway through.
My name's
Actually,
Colin.
this is a short one.
I'm a police officer. Work downtown Skid Row area. Been doing it for 6 years now. Specifically downtown for the last 3. So it's very wild because I grew up in Southern California, so I've always been, frequented going downtown, whether it was Staples Center or concert venues or clubs and bars and stuff. And it's really just insane how everything's kind of transformed over the last few years. And then, like with the Cecil, I can remember back when the whole Lisa Lamb stuff happened and whatnot, and then the video came out, and then the Netflix documentary American Horror Story and everything. And I can remember going by there when it was still like a hotel, and now that it's transitioned, it's just wild, to be there. And that's probably the number one question is people say, "Oh, have you been to the Cecil?" And it's I'm not exaggerating when I say 2 to 3 calls a day in my 12-hour shift. So
that is, after being inside of the building, I can totally see why.
And it's wild too, because people think when they hear Cecil Hotel, they think like a hotel. They don't really how tiny those rooms are. How it's just wild because it's such a, like, that building is probably 100 years old or so, and just the fact that it's like, okay, well, a lot of these buildings downtown where the standard of what is like luxury, a hotel, an apartment or whatnot, they didn't really change them. They've just kind of repurposed them to be what are called SROs, which are single room occupancy housing, which is kind of a big thing there. And then Skid Row. And the wild thing about the Cecil is it's only been like that for about 2 years. So
really?
Yeah, so it was what it was, when the Elisa Lamb stuff came out. And then when I first got down there, which was about 3 years ago, it was closed because they were remodeling it. They were repainting everything. So everything you see there is within the last 2.5 years. We went by there before it was open, like I said, and the staff there kind of took us around and everything, and how you can't go through that the iconic front doorway. You got to go through the side with security. That was all new, and then it was they're painting all the rooms and everything and whatnot, and then slowly allowing people to start living there. And now it's just insane. It's like I tell people like Buffy the Vampire Slayer how Sunnydale was the Hellmouth, and it's just everything kind of, and that's how I feel like with downtown in certain places, because it's like, it doesn't matter if it's the $5,000 a month luxury lofts or people living in tents. There's so much just crazy stuff that just seems to be happening.
Yeah, there's like I feel a very kind of dark, weird energy downtown. Obviously it's super unfortunate to have Skid Row right there, and the tragedy that brings. But the Cecil is, I've never felt energy like that. You've been inside of the building, right?
Oh yeah, many times. I mean, like I said, I'm not exaggerating when I say that call comes out there 2 to 3 times a day in my 12-hour shift, and I work during the day. And it's just, you walk in and you talk to security at the front to kind of figure out what's going on, or you're waiting for somebody to come down. Just everybody coming through is either yelling to somebody or there's fights breaking out. I mean, it's a very wild place, and most of the time the elevator doesn't work. you have to go, and every floor's got a different like smell to it, whether it's somebody's a hoarder, or somebody lit something on fire, or somebody flooded something. It's just like I said, it's just a wild place. And I don't think when people like think of it, I until you actually see it, you really don't like. It just blows your mind that this is how people have to live. Certain people who are either down on your luck, or substance abuse or mental health and everything, and just like I said, so much crazy stuff there. The manager there, she's actually a really, really nice lady, and I remember one time she was telling me, she was like, we arrested somebody for domestic violence. And she was like, we need to get this guy on a restraining order out of the building, because if one more person dies here, they're going to shut us down. And I was like, what a crazy, like, that's your contingency for staying, doing what you're doing.
They're at the precipice of one more death.
Yeah.
Could shut them down. That there's like that's just an extreme amount of deaths. The women that we were talking to who lived there, one of them said that just in the last 2 or so years that she lived there were like 30 overdose deaths or people.
Oh yeah, I completely believe that. And that part alone isn't even is like, that's unfortunately more common with everything and the accessibility of things. But it's like I said, it's insane, because you ask anyway, okay, 640 South Main, and it's, oh, that's the Cecil.
What are the calls that are coming in? Like, what's the most common stuff?
There's everything from just batteries, which is somebody, pushed somebody, two people got into an argument. You get people that will readily walk around with, machetes and stuff like that. And they've got cameras. And, the thing is, it's not when it comes to that, it's not a crime to have a machete. It's not. So it's like, there's just people that, we had a call a few months ago where it was some guy he was just walking down the hallways, talking to himself, carrying a machete. And it's like, okay, well, we can't, and then you tell people, like, you can't really arrest somebody for that. We can go up to try to, make contact with them and whatnot. But if, it's mostly like, hey, try to put that away and stuff. But then we've also had jumpers, violent crime. I can remember one time we got a call, came out, where a guy walked into the lobby where the security was, stole the security guard's cell phone. They had a confrontation, so they called. And right when we got there and we were detaining him, another lady comes running out, and she's covered in blood from her face. In that short exchange of time where we were there, she had gone into somebody else's room, and there was a male in there that decided to hit her in the head with a pipe and rob her. And she heard the sirens from our call and comes running down. So it's just a nonstop. You end up seeing, everything throughout there. And I mean, like I said, you saw going through there. It's just wild. It's not like there's a quiet time. It's like there's stuff going on at 2 o'clock in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, and 8 p.m. And it's just a wild place.
It's always a little scary to me when even the security was telling us outside, like, do you guys have a knife? Like, you should be sure to have some sort of protection on you, because we don't even walk around these floors by ourselves. We go in 2s and 3s. That is totally unlike any place that I've ever filmed at before.
Yeah, no, I can only imagine, because it's just, and it's just this scary kind of thing. Everything's just kind of, transitioned to where basically the way Los Angeles has kind of gotten since COVID, where a lot of times, there's a fine line between somebody who's doing criminal stuff and somebody who's suffering from a mental illness, whether it's, pre-existing thing, drug related and whatnot. It's almost like we don't know what to do with them. So unfortunately, Skid Row, places like the Cecil become that out for that. And I mean, like I said, as I'm sure you saw there, or just see driving around that area, that's kind of where, like, we're at. And it's like, okay, well, somebody's got to figure this out, because something's not working right. We had at the Cecil maybe about a month ago, a guy that was he was high. He ran in, he started assaulting some of the staff there. He didn't even live there. He broke the glass door out front, a window in the office, and then barricaded himself inside of one of the rooms. Then he flooded it, and it was on the 3rd floor, so the water was coming down through the lobby and everything. SWAT ended up coming out, but that was that did make the news. That was on the news. But it's a lot of the buildings down there too, and it's not just the Cecil. one of the buildings right by there. Also, well, this was Cecil too. I heard you kind of mention it, because of the fact that a lot of these people don't have family members or anyone to lean on. They're just kind of there. One will pass away, and people don't wait to go in there to start taking things, to start squatting. I mean, it's pretty unbelievable. I mean, we had a call that came out because somebody hadn't seen their friend, and they wanted security to do a wellness check, and then they opened the door, and there was the person was sitting upright, like leaning against the wall, deceased, and this random guy came running out. So they chased him, grabbed him, and then we get there, and then the coroner comes out, looks, and says, no, this person died of an overdose about 5 days ago. This guy's just been essentially squatting in this, 8x8, 10-foot, this just tiny room. A lot of just all the buildings down there just have just crazy history where it's just such like macabre things that happen. There was one, this wasn't at the Cecil, but it was right down the street from it, where we had a welfare check. Somebody hadn't heard from their neighbor in about a week and a half. They started noticing a foul smell. They end up calling us, and this was one that had been more, they're trying to make it more like trendy, but it's right there on Main Street. It's about 2 blocks north on Main. And so we get up there and we smell it. We're like, yeah, that's the smell. It's consistent with a dead body. We end up having to break the door down. And when we do it, all the lights are off. And we're like, that's weird. Like the power was turned off. We go through, nothing. We notice there's a bunch of small like holes in the wall, probably like through like 2 feet by 2 feet, 1 foot by 1 foot. Here, we're just looking around. It's kind of messy, but we're like, okay, like nobody's here. Maybe it's food. Maybe it's this. Like we couldn't really put our finger on it. We talk to the staff. We go down to the lobby. And we're like, hey, like there's nobody in there. And they go, oh, he might be in the walls. And we're like, excuse me? Like, well, they go, a lot of the residents here have had a problem with him because he's suffering from mental illness, and he believes that his partner has been kidnapped and hidden in the walls of the building. And we're like, okay. So, we go back up and we start seeing these little holes that are, sawed into and broken into. And we're like, okay. And as we're waiting, some woman comes out and she's like, is everything okay? We're like, yeah, nobody's heard from him. Try not to alarm anybody. Some people like haven't heard from him in a few days. This woman goes like, she goes, I got to tell you, like, there's something not right with this guy. There's something really not right with this guy. Like, he's very just concerning things in the middle of the night, like a lot of times. And she's like, I know I'm going to sound crazy. She's like, but I'll wake up at 2 a.m. and my dogs are barking, and I swear to God, it sounds like something's moving in between my wall and the foundation. And I'm like, oh, like goosebumps. I'm like, oh my God. Long story short, the staff manager comes out with the blueprints and everything. She starts pulling, panels off stuff. And sure enough, he had fastened kind of a crawl hole in the closet, climbed up the ladder, and was moving alongside in between the wall and the foundation. And he slipped and then got wedged in between the air conditioning mount and the wall. And it was, just a few inches. I mean, terrible way to go. And he'd just been sitting there until, they found him. And like I said, that when I like the Hellmouth in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, it's just right. This, because this is 2 blocks from the Cecil. So anyway, I know it's a little off track from the Cecil, but I figured, my wife was like, you have to mention that.
Oh, that is insane. And what's crazy to me is like, the next person that's going to rent that unit is not going to know that happened there.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's the same thing at, like place like the Cecil back when it was a hotel, or, what it is now, where somebody overdoses and, passes away. Like you said, nobody's going to know that story unless somebody tells them. And
word of mouth.
Yeah, it's just such a crazy, wild place. And it's just, like I said, I feel like it just draws people in. I can remember one time and it's just totally normal if you were to set up a camera, and I'm sure like I said, you heard it at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, there's just people walking through the halls, screaming, hearing things, and you go past certain doors and there's pentagrams written on the, drawn on the walls, and, stuff like that. And then, there's people that are just trying to, get a step up. And, I've interacted with certain people there where you see inside of their room, and it's like, it's furnished to the best that they can. It's clean. They're trying to climb out, and, like kind of suggesting, being like, hey, make sure people don't see what's inside of here. We got a call once, some woman had been running up and down the hallway screaming for like 2 hours. And we're like, okay, like, and we get there. And we see her and she's yelling. We're like, hey, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? And then all of a sudden we start, hey, let's walk down to the lobby. We got, an ambulance coming. They'll check you out. Because somebody was saying she got pepper sprayed. And then as we're walking, we walk past a hallway, which has a big open window to the fire escape out front. And we're on maybe the 6th floor. And all of a sudden she just bolts. She goes, I need fresh air. And just bolts towards that fire escape. And I was like, oh my God, this is not going to happen. You like I said, you have to wonder if there's something that draws people to this place to kind of, almost possessive,
themselves,
just this negative entity. And I was like, I'm not even, we're not, me and the fire department, we're trying to like hold her back. Because we're like, I'm not going to find out if you want fresh air. When we're 6 stories up and the fire escape is, right there, and literally we'll look out and one of the letters from the sign is just right in view. And I'm like, this is going to be just sadly another tragic story.
Have you ever had any like paranormal or weird experiences while inside of the building?
The elevator, when it opened, when it first opened, it did work consistently. So that the elevator kind of being all, finicky and stuff like that. And like I said, you have to wonder, because it was refurbished building and everything. So you kind of have to wonder, is there more to it than that? And, you go to certain rooms and certain things and people just kind of have this sense of, oh, that's the Cecil. Like something crazy happens or somebody's running around trying to, hurt somebody. And then, like I said, a lot of times people will be like, oh, just another day at the Cecil, like we'll walk up and we'll be waiting in the lobby. And like I said, people will just say like, oh yeah, it wouldn't be the Cecil if, something wasn't going on.
It's almost like the building. Sometimes when we film our videos, the location of these like spots, like the buildings themselves are their own characters,
Yeah.
Cecil's got its own, like it's almost like a vortex that almost attracts the negative.
Yes, and that's
force that draws people
because it's like you'd think. I mean, every hotel's got like the Biltmore, which is suppose one of the best hotels in Los Angeles. But I'm sure things happen there. But it's also too like the Cecil, just trying to re-update things, and it's had a tragic history all the way through. So you kind of got to wonder like, okay, well, I don't think somebody that's depressed or wanting to take their life is going to seek out to go there and kind of devolve into whatever they're experiencing. But it just has to make you wonder, does it pull people there? And I feel like that's how like kind of Skid Row as a whole is in these situations where it's like, because we talk to people all the time who are either victims of crime or whatnot, or get pulled into stuff. And it's just like, hey, you got to get out of here. Do you have family, anybody that, you can lean on for just a little bit? Oh yeah, I'm going to try and move out of here. And it seems like very seldom does that happen, because you end up leaving, and then a few weeks later, hey, didn't you say that you're going to go stay with your sister or something, and find something else to get back on your feet? Oh well, and it's just almost like pulling people back into that same situation.
And what about any recent murders or attempted murders there? Has there been anything like that you've heard about?
As far as murders, no. There's stabbings, assault with deadly weapons, whereas people carry things to protect themselves, just like how you said the security guard advised you, to have a knife and stuff. So it's just people want to protect themselves to make sure that they're going to be safe. So it's like it's unfortunate that police are very much reactive. Something happens and then they show up and just happen to be on the 6th floor in this apartment where something happens. So a lot of people are like, hey, you couple that with the fact that the elevator doesn't work and you got to climb 6 floors and you got to be on 911, which is probably 7 to 10 minutes and stuff. So people are very much like, a mixture of just fed up, not caring, wanting to make sure that they're safe, and that's ultimately their end goal for a lot of people is to make sure they're safe. So you'll have most places, like I said, not just the Cecil, where this person hit somebody over the head with a bottle and this person stabbed him, and then you start talking back and forth and you start doing your investigation or whatnot, talking to witnesses, and then lo and behold, like, okay, this person was trying to rob them, and and somebody's just got to protect themselves.
Would you say that the Cecil is a dangerous place to visit?
I would, not just for the occult aspect, but just because of just public. Like I said, I think one of the problems we have in society is there's views that people have, and this okay, like, people that are, it's a perfect storm of bad people, bad things, bad environment together.
That was really fucking freaky, man, because right when you started that answer, your Zoom started like glitching on me.
It's terrifying.
It kept like tweaking out, and like even now your audio's like a second and a half delayed, and you kept freezing, and then it was the only time this whole call that happened.
Oh, wow.
So I've never seen that. I've done so many Zoom calls. So
Interesting.
you might have a ghost or some shit with you, man. You never know.
And that's it.
I suggest you get cleansed, my dude. Alright, they're about to head in. I'm going to, once again, double check the things. If something is here, I will take a quick break. Like I said, got stuff I'm expecting here, and I don't want sitting around too long outside, etc. Bugs and all that jazz. Let's see here. Also, while we're on the topic, kind of, sorta, tried to shave today. Shaver ran out of power. Bought a cord. Cord seems to be useless. Bought a shaver, and now the shaver is taking forever for the order to even get through. That's ticking me off. If it's not going by the time we're done with this episode here, I am going to be requesting it canceled and trying to get another shaver. This is BS. Anyway. Back to Paranormal Files here. Nothing has arrived yet. This is a browser.
All right, man. Where are you taking us tonight?
Sir, I'm taking you guys to the Cecil, the infamous hotel, Cecil Hotel. Are you guys ready?
I don't know.
Well, kinda.
I've heard some weird stuff about this place. I mean, a lot of history behind it. Serial killer's been there. This is going to be very, very interesting.
So what's like the gist and the vibe of the hotel? Like, why do people come to the Cecil?
Bro, to me, I've been there multiple times, and it has to be one of the most scariest places I have visited in my life. Just the fact, every time I walk into the building, I keep in mind Elisa Lam, Richard Ramirez, and I've been to the water tank personally myself. And just the vibes you get from that building, well, you're gonna have a first-hand experience in a couple of minutes once we get there, but it is not what you've experienced in the past, I promise you.
What's the scariest shit you ever seen or had happen in there?
Bro, there's so many things that's happened to me personally. I've been touched, I've been grabbed, I've heard Elisa Lam's voice, blood stains in Richard Ramirez's bathroom. Shit show. That place is a shit show. It's a circus.
It's pretty dangerous, yeah.
Very dangerous. Especially now that they're housing homeless people. It is very dangerous. Very dangerous.
Great.
Drug infested, dangerous. You should not be there alone, let alone 3 people, but yeah.
So I've waited for such a long time to do the Cecil Hotel, and it's so great to have somebody that's going to take us there. But I have to admit that I've heard so many fucking stories about this place, so many not good stories, I want to add, just things that have happened there. I mean, it's so bizarre. You have someone at the hotel that tries to kill themselves, and they end up landing on another person and killing them outside. You have multiple unsolved murders in the building. You have serial killers who have lived there, mysterious, bizarre deaths and disappearances. And tonight I want to ask people, like, hopefully we can talk to somebody who's there. I want to ask them kind of what's been happening at the Cecil, because obviously if there's like a drug overdose or just a death, even like someone who takes their own life, they're not going to report that in the news. So I kind of want to hear from people and see if the building is coming back or if it's still, you know, as dark as it's always been. I have a feeling it's going to be as dark as it's always been.
Yeah, probably, yeah. I don't know.
I don't think we'd be going if it wasn't.
Yeah, right. We don't really go to happy places.
No.
When was the last time you were there?
Can we just
I
go
came
to the
back
amusement park and
recently,
see
about
that's
3
haunted
months ago.
sometime?
3 months ago, I came in, stayed in for about 15-20 minutes. Very sketchy. Not only is the building sketchy, but the people that live inside the building are extremely sketchy. So you gotta be cautious, stick together. I think we'll be okay, but yeah, it's very sketchy.
Would you say every time you go back it's been getting worse?
1,000%. 1,000%. Every single time. Every single time I come back, someone always tells me another story about someone died here, overdosed. There was a recent stabbing. Bro, it's crazy. Stories are endless. And yeah, you're right. They never make it to the news.
By the way, before we cut this, you never even like introduced yourself to people.
Oh, okay.
Who the fuck are you, man?
My name is Joe. I go by Joey Official. I like going to scary, haunted, abandoned places and exploring. Yeah, that's me.
Well, we are going to a scary, kind of abandoned, haunted place.
Very
and
spooky.
Exploring. Yes.
Yes, we are. So,
Well, let's f***ing do this, man.
let's go.
I heard the 15th
Ace
floor
has
was
the
the
least
scariest, and the 2nd and 3rd floor don't have.
And 14 wasn't Richard's real floor. They
don't have any resin?
What do you mean when you said the dude who keeps his door open doing weird shit?
Oh yeah, that fool does some weird ass shit. Fool, that fool is a weirdo, dog. Like he'll literally like tell you good night, and then he'll wait for you like somebody to answer, but he leaves his door open all the single time. And he'll leave stuff so you can see that he has things, just so you can go in, but you never see him.
That's scary.
You never get to see him. You never see him. And if you do see him, you don't see his. He's always covering his face. Just be careful. Yeah, be careful. Don't trust nobody.
When we go upstairs, we go in twos. We don't never split up. Each floor we walk together.
Don't trust nobody. Don't trust me.
If
Don't
y'all got
trust her,
if y'all
don't
got
trust
a knife
nobody.
on y'all or something, keep a knife on y'all or something, because ain't no telling what'll happen to y'all, especially if it's a gang of smokers up in here and shit like that. They just be careful.
If you hear anything that you're not supposed to hear, so mind your business. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, mind your business.
Because
There's probably about 30 people that have died since I've been here since October.
there's a lot.
Since October, now
Yeah.
let's break down.
Fentanyl overdose.
It's just
Like
a
2
lot
weeks
of
ago,
shit.
they
Like,
pulled somebody out of their room that's been there a week.
the people that will tell you the most, like to be be careful and everything, are the ones that are gonna try and get you.
We don't
just tell you like that.
we don't never walk.
The ones that you see that are like trying to help you for are the ones that are gonna try and get you. That's all I gotta say.
His name's Jimmy.
That's all I gotta say.
We stay in two.
time to interview these two?
The access to the tunnel is what makes
like
it.
living here.
They just sold it, 31 million.
Is not.
31 million?
Somebody broke the door handle to where I was staying, and while I was fixing it, like I kept hearing knocks on the top and the side, and it's like I just found out that there's tunnels. Like I just found that out. I was like, oh.
Do you live here?
Yeah, I'm staying here. It's not the best place to stay at, honestly. That's why I got AirPods,
For what?
because I don't want to hear nothing.
Wow.
I woke up to somebody yelling on the fire
Sometimes you can tune it out.
to some girl, and it's like
Between 3 and 4
the
in the
shit that you
morning.
hear. What's up with you letting China touch you? Where's China? There's a roach right there. There's a roach right there. Ah, you got scared?
You put the camera on somebody and you can see like the little outline and like
Their archetype.
we doing that shit today, and there was like no people right there, little outliners and shit was coming up. It was weird as fuck.
Oh, bro.
And they tried to pick her up and they dropped her into an accident. What? Right there. What do you mean?
Oh, I didn't mean to
A
laugh.
lady. A lady. But she heard her boyfriend cheating or some shit.
Yeah.
So I read her diary after she did it. Recently? Yeah, last year. Like,
Yeah, most of us are all really into this place. That's why we stay here.
that's crazy.
We opted to stay
It's been
here.
like 13 deaths.
See, I
Down that way. Down that way. So you taking them out, right?
Yeah.
You're one that's taking.
would.
Yeah, we need to decide.
stuck on
Why did he say that? Like, did you know he had stuff in there? I didn't. I got stuff on there 3 times.
20 minutes.
Thanks. Sorry. My fault.
I feel like we're being watched. Too many people, bro.
I know.
We gotta take a different angle.
I've been here before.
Record this. I'm serious. Record this. Go now. Go now. I'm so serious. I'm so serious.
I got you.
Go. All right. Chrissy.
What?
Oh my God.
On my phone?
I just seen something on the 12th floor.
Is it that in green shirt?
I thought it was you in the room, but it wasn't. I said, hello?
Josh. What?
Go check it out.
What person?
Don't do that.
So where you want to go? I've never been in here. I don't know where to go.
I'm gonna follow your lead, bro. You're the Cecil guy.
Okay, let's go. All the way to.
What's that floor upstairs where like on the 11th floor somewhere is a hole in the wall and one door?
Oh yeah, it's on the 11th floor.
Okay.
It's 11.
It's the one
It's a hole in the wall in the closet.
Right.
Yeah.
I was just in that room earlier, as a matter of fact.
It's on
So
that
that
side
would-
of the
It's a hole in the
That
wall.
will be the room. That will be the room that y'all should make it to.
I'm down to go in the elevator.
Nothing's gonna happen on
You
that.
Good luck, brother.
Yeah, nothing's gonna happen.
Good luck, brother. Not going in there.
You're not gonna go?
No way, sir. Good luck, brother. Hell no. Hell no.
Yeah, it's too much shit already.
Hey.
We just trying to get to like a room where we could investigate.
I know.
But
Like I said, the closest room is the 4th floor. Excuse me. The 4th floor.
all right,
I'm not worried about the stench. 4, 5, and 6, man, got a smell.
4, 5, and 6.
It's really 6 and
Well, 11.
So, people live on this floor?
Yeah. This is one of the vacant rooms. Nobody lives here, but you know, people come in from outside and twist handles and they might find an empty room and they come in and sleep or chill or rest up.
How's it been like living here for yourself?
I had an experience, right? It was probably about like 2-3 weeks after moving in, and me and my boyfriend, we was just up chilling, talking, whatever, you know. Out of nowhere, it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. Out of nowhere, we hear this little girl. I say a little girl because it just sounded like a little girl, right? So we hear this little girl bouncing her ball. She was at the end of the hall. My room is 522. She was at the end of the hall. She was bouncing her ball, playing with her ball or whatever. Her ball escapes her and it rolls down to in front of my door. She runs down to get the ball, picks the balls up and says, "Mommy!" Loud and clear.
No.
Now, you know how it is when you think it's just you feel me? Like you're the only one that hears it, you know you're tripping. But he heard it too. And we looked at each other like, huh? Like, did you hear that? And he was like, yeah, babe, I heard that. And then he said to the ghost or whatever it was, he said, all right, bitch, we know you here. We recognize you. Just leave us alone. We ain't gonna with you. You know what I'm saying? He said that and it's like she poofed in between the wall and dropped her cell phone. I know it sounds crazy, and every now and again throughout the day, I would hear like a cell phone vibrating in the wall. Like, classic. It's so crazy, and I know it seems like unbelievable, but bro.
So there's just like rooms in here that are just open like this.
A couple of them. It's a few. Like they trying to lock down on it, but they not doing a good job.
Cause it's crazy. Like there's a fucking knife sheath over there. Like,
oh yeah. Random selections. That's what I call them.
Have there been people that have passed away while you've lived here?
Yeah. Again, my room is 522, and I was awakened to people screaming and hollering, and I look up out the window and I see a lady outside her window on the 6th or the 7th floor from her window.
That is, how long ago was that?
This was about like February.
Of this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, this place obviously has.
So many people have died in this building.
I mean, the history is insane.
Oh, over here, bro.
Because the elevators don't work, handicapped people who can't get up and downstairs, bed into their rooms. You feel me? Like they sit in there and they die. People don't do wellness checks as often as we should. You know what I mean? It's like they put the handicapped people on the highest floors and they put us good, stair climbing people on the 4 and on the 5. Like, come on, man. I don't want to walk to the 12, but I'll definitely do it for a handicapped person to take my room on the lower floor.
So do you think, like, I know that there's a lot of stuff about this hotel being, like, cursed, but a lot of that stuff sounds like really improper management and, like, it doesn't have to be like that bad. Like, why would you put handicapped people on the 12th?
Yeah, it's like they don't think. They weren't thinking things all the way through when they, you know what I mean, when they started placing people in.
Yeah.
They was all about the money. I feel like they was just totally after the money. They wasn't caring about who was who or what was what. Like they was just trying to get $1. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Put them in somewhere quick.
Y'all want to take the stairs or there's another set of stairs on this side.
This way, that way, the residents.
Yeah, let's go.
Definitely.
Yeah.
What's that floor you're talking about?
I'm talking to you.
The 11th?
Oh, it's no, like, oh, no, last was
Not 23.
The empty? No.
Yep. Rob.
Yes, I'll take the stairs.
I'll walk if you guys want to walk.
I want you guys to have that experience as well. It is.
That bad.
I'm not afraid of it.
It's pretty bad.
It's not that bad.
For me, it's pretty
I got
bad.
stuck on the elevator one time.
That's that. I don't want to hear that, John.
Before the security guards took control of it, I got stuck one time and I just kept my composure. It's not that bad. It's worse like the experience that I had with the little girl in the ball. Like that was way more hectic than an elevator freeze.
Take it by yourself. The elevator opened every single time on the 5th floor. No matter
Oh
what.
my goodness.
This is that floor. He's
And I stayed on the 5th floor.
a little French guy.
The elevator throughout the night would just come to the 5th floor, open, close, open, close, open, close, until somebody calls for it. If nobody calls for it, it will come to the elevator. It will come to the 5th floor. That's the 5th floor. It'll come to the 5th floor and just open and close throughout all the night.
And you're saying it's a French guy?
Yeah, a little French guy.
Where at?
He gets on the elevator on the 5th floor. Every time, no matter what, it always opens even if nobody presses it. And he gets in and he goes to where like the numbers are. And he just stands there. He has a suitcase and an oversized jacket on and like a beret-looking hat.
Why do they do it? Like,
It's almost evening.
Will you walk us over there and show
What,
them?
the elevator?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Show them where that you see that? Because that's a crazy story.
He gets on the elevator.
I know you definitely, I don't know about him, but I know the spirits talk to the 5th floor. All the time.
So
Stand right there.
just kind of explain what you just said one more time now that we're here.
Oh, before when we used to be able to operate the elevator by ourselves, when it opens, it opens on the 5th floor no matter what. Opens and closes, like it lets somebody on. And me, I kind of like am into him spirits and stuff, but he's a little French guy. He's about this tall, and he wears an oversized suit, and he has a briefcase that he holds real tight to his body, and he's wearing a hat, and he always comes in like this, and he just gets in and turns around and he stands like this. That's it.
And who do you think that?
I don't know.
Does he seem like angry?
No. He just seems very like you're supposed to be quiet, like you're supposed to be really, really quiet on the elevator or something. And then I'll tell you about this one later.
Okay. Yeah, well, what is it?
The maintenance guys that work here, that have worked here since the beginning, one of them is Richard's uncle. Richard Ramirez's uncle.
Really?
Uh-huh. The older one. But anyway, long story short, no, the one with the glasses is the older one. He's the one that used to change Richard's clothes when he came in from outside. It's kind of creepy to say. There's a giant, okay? He's a giant. He's wearing like a bellhop outfit. And he comes down before the maintenance guys, and he comes down real, real fast, and he stands up on the pole and goes like this, and waits for all 3 of them to come down. And then he does it again. Every stairwell, he does it.
And you're talking about a spirit.
Yeah, but he's a giant.
That's a little creepy.
Mm-hmm.
A little odd.
That's not very comforting.
All
No, he doesn't say anything. He doesn't look mean. He's like their escort. Like he's wearing a bellhop uniform, like he kind of like Lurch from the Addams Family. Yeah, like Lurch from the Addams Family, kind of. Yeah.
Where's the Richard Ramirez room you were talking
On the
about?
14th floor, but it's really at the top.
Yeah.
We're already almost halfway there.
If you guys want to take the elevator, feel free.
He wants y'all to have that elevator experience.
I do.
He might as well just have it.
I mean, yeah, you hear?
I'll go.
I'll
go.
Have that
I'm gonna walk
elevator
with him because
experience.
there's only so many can fit on the elevator anyway. Isn't it?
Yeah.
All right.
He's smart. He's like,
Let's just do it.
I just did. Just go on the floor.
if I don't see you guys back here,
Bro, shut the f-
I told you guys not to go up there.
He's your like.
Bro, fuck.
I think he's really spooked. Like,
I'm more
he ain't even
about the people.
he ain't even had no bad experience yet. Like, but he's really cautious. I like.
Not
like
the
that.
ghost that I'm scared of.
So you guys are gonna walk up there? And
No, we're gonna walk downstairs
What? You're not coming up?
to the 12th floor.
Yeah, you gotta.
I mean, like, what? All the hard work you put in to get these guys to have this experience, you don't want to have it.
He brought us out here.
I know.
Bro,
We're gonna have a
out
little
here. He's
chit-chat.
chicking it up before he
We're
gets
gonna
out
have a
there.
little chit chat. Oh, that's Richard right there.
It's not that
It's
bad.
not that bad till you're stuck in the elevator.
You ain't that's bad.
Somebody
You gotta
paranoid.
use the outside. This is
Shit, I gotta swap mattress.
Somebody chicken. Yeah, with regard to the locals, he ain't even seen much.
I say going to 11? Going to 11 floor?
Yeah. Right?
11.
Oh yeah, you said you wanted the 11th, the one where the two rooms are connected, right?
Yes. You know where that's at?
Yeah, but I don't know if it's open. Hi, Dex.
What floor you going to? What floor? Come on. Sorry, I gotta switch back.
Hi, Dexter.
How are you?
I'm good. You going to your house? You
Well,
going to your house?
hello.
Yeah, for a second.
Also, you can see that I'm at the left horizon with these people.
Was you making a documentary?
No, just normal activity.
Be advised that I won't be meeting you on the 11th floor. I'm on my way back down to the lobby.
Thank you.
Copy.
Which way did they go, that way?
No, they went.
The other one's the ladies, the girls.
The ladies?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what y'all supposed to be.
That's up to you.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
on 12th floor.
we don't want to ruffle
No, that's
any
cool.
feathers or anything.
No, that's cool. Don't even trip.
Yeah, man, you know what this is for? The tennis.
I get it, man.
It's for them, man, because before I came, it was hectic.
No, yeah.
It was real hectic.
You mean just like shit happening?
Because I have stuff too, so I don't make it really up.
I hope security's there with you.
He's gonna move. That's Joshua. Joshua, these are.
Hey
You
Joshua,
guys-
how's it going?
He's lived here for a while.
I think we'll need a bigger area than this.
You do?
Yeah, because we have to set stuff up.
You guys have that whole area over there on that side. I can move some stuff.
I mean, more like an empty. You know what I mean?
Joshua.
There's got to be an empty room.
406 is empty, huh? If you look towards the elevator, there should be somebody standing there in a green shirt, khaki pants.
Really?
Yeah, he stands there and just watches the people get on the elevator. He has like hair like yours, actually.
You mean a
Like-
ghost?
Yeah, I really see them. I can really talk to him too. There's one that follows me all the time. His name's Mason. He's a little boy that drowned. I knew his mom, but all he says to me is that his eyes were all soapy.
Wow.
They were on the news actually. His mom was on the news about his drowning.
Here at the hotel?
No, not here, but it's just a ghost that follows me all the time. His name's Mason.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
So,
Once he found out I could talk to him,
I guess why don't you just,
a little different.
how about you introduce yourself?
Uh-huh.
And then just tell us about what it's been like living here.
Okay. I'm Christine Jacqueline Ralph. I've lived here since October and I haven't left the building. It's something that is kind of heavy when you try to leave here and you have a spiritual connection with the building. Me personally, I only knew one person personally that had passed away here, but since I've been here, at least 15, no less than 15 have died either from fentanyl overdoses or and one of them said that it was because the voices told him to do it. I have been like spiritually in tune for like maybe 5 years now. I didn't even know that I can do this kind of stuff. It kind of just popped up out of nowhere. I read tarot cards and do all all that crazy stuff. People say it's crazy. Sometimes I have if something has like happened like inside the room, I can feel it. Yes, Joshua. Oh, it's over here. I know. I was like, oh my gosh, he left his toy. Here, here, Joshua. Thank you. Like, I draw and like I can draw like this. This one is mine. This is the representation of me. And I can draw the Cecil. I drew the name, the Cecil. They already have it. I was looking for it, but it showed some crazy things that I also have seen that are here. Like there on the other side of the building, there's a lady that looks out the window, and she looks kind of like a lawyer or something, but she just stares out at the horizon and she smokes a cigarette. And the room looks like it had like a circle table underneath the window, and there's an ashtray and sitting on a napkin, a cup of coffee, and a bunch of books. So maybe she was like a paralegal or something. And Richard's girls said that he didn't do it, that they were all willing sacrifices.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Richard Ramirez.
Yeah, he used to stay here. His uncle still works here. And I truly believe that Richard's still alive. But, and actually lives here down in the basement. The basement's pretty crazy too.
What makes you possibly say that? Because that is wild.
Well, because my dad's still alive, and my dad was quite a man of many faces as well. So I can believe it. Yeah, without a doubt.
But I mean, Richard Ramirez specifically.
Yeah.
Why do you think that?
Because I feel like I can hear him.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You think his spirit?
That's not good.
No, because he answers. He doesn't answer fast. Most of the time when you talk to the spirits, they answer very quickly because they're just sitting around waiting. But people that are living, when you try to tap into their frequencies, they answer slower because their mind's thinking about different things. You have to say their name a couple more times.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So most of the time the spirits they answer rapidly, or they'll appear pretty rapidly too, if you can see them or feel them.
So have you actually seen like the death that's been here? Like bodies being taken out, stuff like that?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, somebody in 1101 died. His name was Jimmy. But he had been in there a week. It smelled pretty bad, and when they opened the door, there was somebody else, like a homeless person, living in there as well with the dead body. Like it was pretty insane.
Just last week.
Yeah, and then the elevator was broke down so that they like literally the corner people wrapped his body up in 2 sheets like a Tootsie Roll and just drug him downstairs, 11 floors.
That is crazy.
It was brutal. It was crazy. It was fucking brutal.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What?
It was amazing. It was like they're so disrespectful.
Yeah.
Like super disrespectful.
Heard some shit like that.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, David Lamb, Elisa's uncle, he contacted me to ask me if I could speak to her.
Really?
Yeah, believe it or not, he lives at the PATH building.
Really?
He's a little short Chinese guy.
And you can't
David
get up
Lamb.
there, can you?
What, to the 15th floor?
To the roof?
No, yeah, you can. I go there almost every morning.
Because we really want to go up there and see the water tank.
Sheesh, it's deep.
What do you mean?
I don't know. It's the energy up there is really heavy. The energy is super, super heavy up there.
That's where we wanted to do the ghost hunt.
Yeah, it's crazy. The energy is on just when you go up to the 15th floor on that side of the where you can go out at. It's really intense. Just the amount of.
You have to go up like fire escape or something?
No, there's stairs. But if somebody didn't leave the bag, the upstairs, the door to the roof popped open, then that would be, we would have to pop it, but it wouldn't set off an alarm or anything. but it would have to go to you'd have to go out the window, climb up on the railing and go out the window. But it's big enough, but because I do it. But that's only if the door isn't popped open, because sometimes people, but they wouldn't tell on us right now. You guys are here for a special reason. I was looking at my frequency thing. Crazy. At about 3 o'clock in the morning, from 3 to 4, there's a girl that's dressed like Tom Cruise in Risky Business with the just a button down white shirt and socks and a little, like, so she's wearing her boyfriend's clothes. But she runs up and down from the 15th floor, all the way down to the 7th floor, and she checks all the doors. She said, no, not this one, not this one, not this one, not this one. She opens all the doors, knock, knock. And some people say that they've heard people knocking on the door. And then the other lady that smokes a cigarette in the windows, the reason I know about her is because one of my friends said he smelled a cigarette. Like, he could literally smell her when she's in the room because you can smell her cigarette.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Well, we should go up there.
Yeah.
Would you take us?
I don't care. I don't mind.
Let's go.
I'm pretty...
And do you know where Richard lives?
Supposedly it was upstairs on the 14th floor, but I heard it was this floor, and it was the first room right there by the bathroom. The bathrooms are pretty creepy. And I think, honestly, the building's alive. I think all the skin cells that have dropped off of people for the last 100 years in the drains have rehydrated and kind of like combined and repaired themselves all together and made one big skin cell. So it looks like, even if you look down the drains, it's slimy.
Okay.
It's like, it really looks like it's human flesh in there. So
Well, that's
I think
terrifying.
Yeah, I think the building has a pulse.
I mean, with a place like this, I can definitely see that.
No, but it has I think the building has everything but eyes.
Yeah, these hallways have a very eerie vibe.
These guys are community showers.
So lunch. One shower for the whole floor?
No. And then the 2 bathrooms.
This is crazy.
Okay, so we're gonna go up to the 15th. The 14th is technically the floor that the signature was on.
So this is the floor Ramirez was on.
Yes.
It's such a just wild energy in here.
I know.
And these are so to explain to people online, these are those elevators that in that footage you can see Eliza Lamb freaking out in, and she's looking around and it looks like someone's chasing her, but no one was. It was right here. And fucking Richard Ramirez was on this floor.
Oh my god. I'm not touching that. I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole.
Hey, City, get out of me.
So that's the door to where the roof is. Should we do some spirit boxing right here?
You can. There's something that keeps winding.
Following us?
It's winding up. It goes, yeah, yeah, yeah.
You just got an energy cleanse yesterday.
I can hear everything.
Are you listening?
Yeah. It's someone saying get out of my house.
Alright. Upskirts.
Alright, guys. Lane with me. So we're here. Infamous. In the Hotel Cecil. First of all, I was just about to ask who's here with us.
Affiliation.
I want to ask, who
Abandoned.
abandoned this place?
Secrets.
Secrets.
Abandoned secrets.
Can we ask, my name's Colin.
My name's Connor.
We just want to ask, who's here in the hotel with us right now? Dude, this place is loaded with energy.
Locations.
Error. We just want to understand who the spirits are that are in here. Can you tell us anything about that?
13.
13 spirits.
Is there a 13th floor?
Is there a 13th floor?
Number 13? There's not?
There's no
13
There's no 13th floor here?
No. Not any of the buildings in Los Angeles. The hotels.
What do you mean by 13? Let's go walk down here.
Someone's coming.
Someone's coming.
Who's coming? There's just... I mean... It's so crazy in here. The energy is so wild. I'm like, what is that stain or like splatter on the wall?
I know.
Don't know, I don't want to know.
Let's walk down.
Down what?
Just in that hallway. Mouth closed.
Yeah.
Julia.
Julia.
She killed.
Who did Julia kill? Who are you, Julia?
Austin.
That's not right.
What's your brother's name?
My little brother. Yeah, same Austin.
Stay back.
Stay back.
Mm-hmm.
Within.
What did you say?
Are you saying to stay back from the hallways?
Definitely.
Well.
Why? Why are you telling us that?
Definitely.
Maintaining.
Austin, stay back, definitely. Well, that's my brother. It's crazy.
I lived in Austin too for 8 years. That's where I got married. What? So there's a killer woman named Julia. Who else is in this building and what can you tell us about the secrets?
Tribes.
Tribes?
Tribes?
I'm Alaskan Indian. It's crazy.
You are?
I'm Alaskan Native American.
He was hung.
That's splatter. This is what they told me that somebody was hung there. It's crazy. I was gonna show you.
So, are you saying that somebody who lived here in this...
Access
to the roof? Are you saying someone who had access to the roof here themselves by hanging?
Whoa.
On radio. What do you mean by that?
8 o'clock a day.
8 o'clock.
What did you say?
Well, doors. Oh, we are in a place with a lot of doors. What is driving all the death here in this hotel? Can you give us an answer about why this place is a magnet for negativity?
Over. Ghost.
Ghost.
FCC.
Ghost?
Sure.
It says new rules.
New rules, ghost. Are you saying that
Ghosts are driving this?
the spirits don't like that this isn't a hotel anymore and there's new management? I don't know. It's kind of like a hotel though. It's just not. Boo.
Trapped.
Boo.
Trapped.
Booga booga.
Trapped.
Me.
Are there any people who've killed someone that are living in the hotel right now?
4 of us are serial killers' kids.
Really?
Yeah. The groom sleeper, his son lives here. Christian. Christopher Franklin.
Who are the others, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm told by me, sorry.
Most likely.
No.
Yeah. As I said, my dad's still alive, so they could do it.
Charles.
They could hit it like he died, but he didn't. I'll show you a picture.
You are Ted Bundy's daughter.
See my mole? No. That's my dad now. That's him then. That's my brother.
What?
It's my brother John.
Okay, though, I'm
That's my
officially
dad.
freaked out.
Robert. We call him Robert. They named him before, I think. I'm Bob.
That is crazy.
He gets out this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Menace.
Most likely.
Who are the others?
There's Christopher Franklin, who's Josh. You just met him.
Yeah. Sage.
Probably want to say she's an entire building.
Yeah,
You don't need a super duper mega
But
bong. What's the heck out of this
Christian
place?
Rivera. We just did Red Romance. Remember?
Yeah.
He
Might want to use a fumigation tent while you're at it.
tattoos.
Really? Holy f***.
Seal off the place.
Positive sage. It's like the spirits are begging for a...
The cleansing of the energy in here.
Is there anything that can be done?
What does it say, David?
Enid.
What?
Enid. E-N-I.
Jailhouse.
Jailhouse for spirits.
What?
Is there... What is attracting all this death?
Adobe, like a brick. It has like an Adobe brick. I was in the 5th grade. It's funny.
Adobe brick. And like I said before, are there any murderers that live here now? Protecting.
Yeah.
He said they wanted us back down there at 12:25. That's in 2 minutes.
Better start heading, yeah.
Call the elevator.
Well, we can't call it.
Can you tell me to send the elevator to the 14th floor?
And he's outside.
Can you send the elevator to the 15th floor? Oh, they're coming up.
Roy. 15 flights is a lot.
To walk down. So
Walking downstairs is easier than walking up the stairs.
we can listen to everything way downstairs.
Alright. Keep this shit running. All paid for. Do you know where that room is with the hole in the wall?
Yeah. Not the reference. I believe it.
Sure.
Interesting stuff, but nothing for sure, you know. Some very interesting stuff up there. Very eerie place, I'll give you that for sure. Very dangerous. A lot of crazy people running around.
Yeah, I think I'm going to knock it by the door. I thought that's what we were doing. I'm sorry.
Not risky. There's people down there.
Go down. Sam looks taken too.
Same cook?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm going to stop and read it here and get up to.
What was that scene?
Yeah, that's my mom from the country was Chantel. She gave us like this. She owed money. And she regretted doing this thing. And then she knocked us back. First time in the words, I took out her face by the dog. And they had to shoot the dog. And I heard she straight out movie. And I could be a little bit in trouble right here.
Is this blood?
No.
You don't think so?
No, there's a room that does have blood in it. See the trajectory?
Wait,
honestly, that could be anything, to be fair.
Yeah,
Is it open? Did you even read?
No, they want to go to 406. Is it still open?
We're on 3 right
I know.
now.
This floor has loading on it.
Oh, this is the empty floor.
Yeah, I know it is here.
What is that?
My secret room.
Nice.
My secret room.
Keep it that way. Let's just see if we can see these bloodstains and then we'll get the hell out of here.
That's right, if I have to hop. Because it's very dangerous for me. I know my own name. So it's a little bigger than me. Also corrupted that way to be shit. It's locked.
So, there's bloodstains in this
Yeah,
room.
like, it looks like somebody got shot sitting in the bed, and the bloodstains go that way.
God damn. It's so crazy.
Don't know what's on the floor. Probably don't want to know either.
Yes, they're investigating paranormal activity.
Hello, little dog. Come at that dog. Come at that dog. There's the lobby. This it kind of looks like a lobby. My wife finded no plans.
Big fat guy.
There's the elevator.
Thank you.
All good?
Appreciate it, man.
I'll get a nice little tour.
Yeah. Yes, we do. It's a lot of walking,
Wild
man.
stuff.
Holy shit. You know where he went?
Yeah.
All right.
Exclusive. All right. All right, I got you, bro.
Bye, guys.
All right.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Chicken.
Thank you so much for everything. Seriously. I'm gonna get it.
So, we just got out of there. I don't even think I've filmed myself once. I mean, that was the most insane shit that we've done in
you
a
constantly watched
really
everything
long
around
time.
you. You barely
Just,
had time to
there was
sit
so
there
much
and look
shit
at
that
yourself.
wasn't on camera that people probably won't see, like people that were in the hallways watching us, and people's heads that kept popping out and staring at us, and noises, and holy but I have to say that building has some of the most insanely negative, depressing energy of any place that I've ever been to. That is unlike anything else. But I'm like charged up right now, like electrified from that energy, dude. That is fucking crazy.
That building, bro. That building is 10 times scary because they have people living there now.
Yeah.
That's you know.
People living amongst
that's gotta
dead bodies too. She was telling us that
that
the room where that guy was just decaying in there for a week, there was another homeless dude living in the room with him while the guy was decaying.
Bro,
what's the craziest shit that ever happened to you in there?
Craziest shit. This was off. I had my SB11 running as I was on leaving Elisa Lamb's floor, leaving a room. In my video, you can clearly hear it. It says Elisa, and I literally dropped everything. I dropped my SB11, I grabbed my camera, and I ran out. And this is when there was 0 residents. Okay, there's nobody living there. Me and 1 security guard, and the security guard must remain in the front. So I was literally on the 4th floor all by myself. Not a single human, nothing. All doors are open, okay? Just being in that building alone scares the shit out of me. Like, that place is so negative. You have to have a first-hand experience in order to, you know.
Dude, it's undescribable.
Yeah, you can't describe it. That's how.
Holy shit.
It is. It's crazy.
I mean, like, genuinely. I mean, the woman is telling us that just since she's moved in, at least 15 people. She said at first probably more like 30 people have died just from overdoses. And they're telling us stories about bodies that are left in their rooms to rot for a week. And this guy's telling us a story about watching someone themselves from the side of the... That's fucking crazy.
Remember before going in, I told you, I'm like, I was here alone, and only the 4th or 3rd floor was vacant by people. And I came across a door that had a door tag from the coroner's office, which is crazy. Which confirms her story when she says that they just leave bodies in there, bro. All they do is tag it. There's a body in here. We'll be back to pick it up. Which is insane.
At the coroner's office.
From the coroner's office. That's crazy. That's lunatic.
And then they're even like, the security people that are there are even concerned about letting us in because apparently, like, it's such a problem that people are let in there and then they go up to those floors and, like, people, rob people, hurt people, kill people. Like, that's fucking crazy. They literally were not going to let us in because they said, like, we don't want the liability. We don't know what you're going to do up there. And the girl, I don't know if I got her on camera at first saying people just get in there all the time.
Well, this place is, it's crazy. It has so much history aside from, like, the whole Elisa Lam, Richard Ramirez, all this crazy shit that has happened in this hotel, and it's still running. Guess what? It's not a hotel now, but
yeah,
it can still go. It's crazy.
Still
And
ongoing.
Right next to all
Still
this wealth
this
and
crazy,
money.
Yeah.
crazy,
You know what I
wild
mean?
stuff.
Walk one street up, there's a club down the street, restaurants. It's crazy.
It's also strange too that like if you're walking down the street, like you can tell the building's like it's dated and it's kind of like dirty on the outside, like it hasn't been kept up with. But you cannot tell at all that that's what it would be like inside.
No. Oh my god. That was fucking crazy, man.
That was crazy, bro.
Holy shit.
Sketchiest place I've ever found.
I remember Richard Ramirez's room. Okay, so we went up to her room, to his room. Pitch black, no lights working on the 12th floor. Okay, so I'm scared as hell. I only got a little handy dandy flashlight for my camera. We go inside his room. I open the shower curtain, and it was dried up blood stains inside the drain. Like that's, I have footage of that. Like on the drain, there's blood stains. Like you can tell it's like dark brown, like old blood. Like I'm like, yo, I'm on the 12th floor. Don't freak out. And keep in mind, the first time I been inside of Cecil, I took the elevator. Same side you guys took, the Elisa Lam elevator. But ever since then, I will not step foot in that elevator. I get flashbacks.
Yeah, we can tell.
Yeah, but that has to be one of the scariest experiences.
Bro, that was mental.
Yeah.
Dude, what a night.
Some wild negativity up in there. Pray for all those who are in there that aren't looking for making trouble. End of the night, we were left with more questions than answers. However, I can definitely say that the Cecil Hotel is an evil, breathing character in its own horror story. There's something lurking there that I do not fully understand. The building itself is alive. That's it for Paranormal Files tonight. I hope you all enjoyed. Again, check out links down below if you want to find the original episode without my interference. Check out the socials if you wish to communicate with me. The other channels, in particular the live stream channel, if you wish to catch the video game stuff we do. And don't forget the merch store. But that is it for tonight. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and follow. And thank you all for helping out. We are less than 100 away from 1K. And I will see you all again in the next episode. Thank you all. See you all next time. And pleasant dreams.